right? What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another Q&A night, Tech Q&A with your host, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. That is our mission here. That is our goal. We believe in working hard. We believe in putting in that effort and going out there and getting the victory. All right. So we are going to get into it tonight. And we already have in the house, I'm Technically Tim, says it's time. Shout out to I'm Technically Tim. Welcome here. Welcome to the show. I think this is my first time interacting with you on the channel. So welcome.
I appreciate you.
Nice to have you here. All right. See, these bots, they get too aggressive. Don't worry about that. I got you. These bots, they get aggressive sometimes, but we are good. We are good to go. So tonight, Tech Q&A, I have a bunch of questions that I have to address, as well as if you have any questions in the chat, I'm here for you as well. And if you want to call in and ask a question, you do not have to be on camera, on screen. I can keep it off screen. We can have a conversation, whatever it is that you need. I am here for you tonight. All right. So let's get to it. All right. So let's get through our agenda first, like we always do, and then we will get into our questions for tonight. Okay, cool. So let's get to it. First and foremost, as always, I want to thank all of the newest subscribers, like I'm Technically Tim. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. I really appreciate you all, as well as the subscribers who have been here for a very long time, who are rocking with me. I really appreciate you as well. So I appreciate you all.
I appreciate you.
And to my tech barbarians who are working diligently every single day to grow, to enhance their careers, day in, day out, all we do is put in that work. So I just have to say, shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing. Let's go out there and get it.
Let's get it.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to run real quick through our live stream. We're going to run really quick through our show schedules. All right. So first and foremost, our live stream schedules. We have our Sunday afternoon shows, software explorations. We are working on Terraform on Sundays. Infrastructure is code. Infrastructure is the foundation to pretty much everything. Whether you're building something physically, whether it's infrastructure for your software, whatever it is, infrastructure. So we are working on automating our infrastructure. So we've been doing that on Sundays. And you wouldn't believe how big of a payoff that's been for me working on Terraform, because I've been using it at work now. Like, and that was one of the goals for learning it, so I can apply it to work because they use it heavy at work. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go learn on my own. And you've seen me build like my own infrastructure for the application that I'm building with my tech barbarians, but I also get to apply it at work too. As a QA engineer, I doubt you're going to see many QA engineers using Terraform and building infrastructure. But like I always say, you have to go out there and add more value. You have to dive in and get to work. All right. So with that being said, we're doing Terraform on Sundays. I would love to see you all there. But maybe you're not too much into infrastructure, or maybe that might be a little bit too advanced for you. Well, we have Thursday nights where we're doing software explorations, where we are also doing, like, we focus on QA, right? So automation, different QA concepts. Probably next week, most likely next week, we're going to be getting into API testing. So tomorrow I'm going to be wrapping up the GRC framework that we've been going through, the concept and overviews. And so then following that, we're going to be getting into API testing, how to do that. And we're going to be doing live streams on it, different ways that I would go about finding APIs to test. So you definitely want to tune in for that. I know Good Guy has been waiting for that for a while. So that's what we're going to be getting into. Tuesday nights, like tonight, we have our Q&A sessions where we, I have questions that I found that you like. A lot of times you don't even know questions that you have. So I go out there and I find the questions for you, as well as address your questions in the chat. And if you ever want to call in, feel free to call in, hit the link, and we can have a conversation. All right. So that is our live show. Oh, almost forgot. We have our morning shows as well, Mondays and Wednesdays right now. At around 7:15 a.m., we do Coffee and Kata news, like we review some news articles, and then we go ahead and we do our mobile app development. I've been building out this time cost calculator. The time cost calculator came through a formula that I heard the amazing content creator Anton Daniel share 2-3 years ago. It was a long time ago. And I really, really like that concept. So I said, you know what? I can't be dividing by 8,760 every single time. And so I'm like, I'm going to build out the formula. First, I created it in an Excel spreadsheet, and then I turned it into a web application. Now it's turning into a mobile application. And just a little spark of an idea can go so far. So, always innovating, always thinking, always putting in that work. All right. So join us in the mornings for that. So Sunday afternoons, Terraform. Tuesday nights, Q&A. Thursday nights, software explorations, focused on QA. And then in the mornings, Mondays and Wednesdays, we are working on Coffee and Kata, reviewing some news, and working on our mobile app development. So something for everyone. All right. So how does that sound? But wait, there's more. So we have our pre-recorded content. So Mondays we have candid conversations, just spilling my thoughts, like things that I see, adjustments that I might be making, adjustments that you might need to make. So we're just having a conversation and we're trying to figure it out. Wednesdays we have software explorations, concept and overviews. Tomorrow is going to be part 6, reviewing our GRC framework, governance, risk management, and compliance. So we've been going through that the past month and a half. Definitely want to tune in. We're going to be wrapping it up tomorrow, talking about the salaries and GRC and the best practices, as well as case studies. So definitely tune in for that. And then Fridays, we have the Bug Bite, where we review different bugs related to the industry. On this coming Friday, we're going to be talking about the cyber attack that's been plaguing, along with a lot of other things, but that's been plaguing Fulton County. So we're going to be reviewing that. It's been happening since like January. So that is our topic of discussion on Friday. And then throughout the week, we have shorts as well as clips from the Q&A show. This show, we have clips from the Q&A shows that you can get, 5 to 10 minute clips of different topics that we're covering. So something like every single day, content is coming out there to help you get better and help you transition, help you have the right mindset of getting into the tech industry. So I hope that I am adding a lot of value into you. I hope you find it helpful, hope you find it useful, and we can go from there. And if there's ever any content or question that you have, do not hesitate to leave me a comment, send me an email, and we'll make it happen, right? Because I am here to help you. All right. So. Let's see. And where are we at now? All right. Let me look at the chat real quick, and then we will we will continue. So I technically just said, chill out for real, right? I was like, dang, Nightbot, just relax. And my Darcel in the house. It's good evening to you too as well. Wasn't that an amazing show yesterday morning on Technique Sips? I had a lot of fun having that conversation about AI and all that good stuff. So you know how we do. Always looking to add value. And said shout out to AD as always. And do you think that that cruiser that collided with the bridge in Baltimore this morning was a result of a? I have absolutely no idea. I mean, all like the most I heard of it was like what we saw this morning on Anton's channel, and you know a little bit like I saw the lights go off, but I have no idea. Um, if it was though, I don't know how I don't know if they'd really broadcast it. It's I think we just have to wait and see because it is it's not good to speculate on those type of things because there you don't know like all the people that are involved, and I don't like to talk about things without tangible evidence. But you know anything is always possible. Could be cyber, it could be terror, who knows. But it's just better to wait and see. So that but you know anything is possible, you know. So I just don't like to speculate on that type of stuff. So we shall see, but we shall definitely see. And quick question: in your profile picture, is that like it's hard for me to see, but is that karate that you're doing or Muay Thai or something like that? It looks like a roundhouse kick or something to that extent. Let me know. I'm curious. All right, now let's continue with our agenda. So we're gonna jump down over to. Looks like we're just about ready to get the show started. So this is how the show goes. For anyone who's new here, we're going to do 5 minutes per question. I'm going to put the timer up. And, you know, it normally runs a little bit over 5 minutes, but we put 5 minutes up just to keep us honest. And then, you know, that's like telling us it's time to wrap it up, like that wrap it up box. But put it up. And then I'm going to read the question, start the timer, and I'm going to answer. And if there's ever any questions in the chat, I will answer those questions as soon as I'm done with the current question. If you want to call in, feel free to hit the link and I'll take your call. After I'm done with the current question, we'll spend about 3 to 5 minutes having a conversation and we will go from there. All right. So with that being said, let's see. The Taekwondo. Okay, awesome. Awesome. And you got me thinking, you got me hey. So for context, yesterday on Joseph and Trey show, Talk That Tech, which yesterday I renamed it to Talk That Polytech, right? Based on the first segment. But we're talking about AI. And I said that whenever I am using ChatGPT, I always say please and thank you. And you know, I was like the lead attorney always says, down here in the South, we were raised with manners. So I always say please, thank you, etc. You know, and I always put a question mark, and like when I'm creating my descriptions and stuff, and I say, can I please have keywords in CSV format? Question mark. So that's how I do it. All right. Stop the show. My chat co-host is here. Mitch is in the building. Says, yo. See, Mitch is just getting warmed up because he starts off with either a thumbs up or a yo, and then Mitch gets going once the questions start rolling. So just wait for it. All right. Let's get to let's start the show. And if anyone has a question, feel free to drop it in the chat, or what in the world happened here? Or if you want to call in, feel free to call in as well. I am here for you. All right, let me fix this thing real quick. All right, cool, 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 cool. Okay, let's start the show. It says, you don't know me. uh, all right, all right. What's all right, Mitch? Go with your question off topic. Let's do that first. What's your question off topic? And I'm technically Tim. I'm always very polite when using ChatGPT because when all the AIs become fully sentiment and take over the world, they're gonna remember all the humans that were courteous. That was my point exactly. See? See? We understand. We understand. Oh my goodness. Um I went to watch it this weekend, but there wasn't a new episode from when I went to watch it this weekend. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I have to. I'll get back to you on that. But I've been trying to. I've been trying to because I went to watch. What was the last episode? I forgot the last episode I watched, but it was pretty recent. So if there wasn't an episode last week, then I am pretty caught up. But good question. Good question. I have to double check because that's my favorite show. That's my favorite show. All right. Great question. Shout out to Mitch. Asking the things that matter. That's why Mitch is my guy. All right. Let's get to the first question.
Another one.
Our very first question of the night. QA manager thinks that automation with Selenium are useless. My manager thinks that developing QA automation for web and mobile are useless because it can't detect more bugs compared to manual QA team. I came here with existing framework for Selenium, so I do maintaining and developing the scripts while working on mobile as well. But the thing is, they found QA automation useless because it won't detect more bugs compared to manual QA. Resource-wise, there is much more people in manual QA rather than automation team. So the QA manager is saying we should halt the developing of new scripts for QA since it won't detect bugs. What I've been developing is the end-to-end process of functionality, but we only have like less than 100 regression scripts. How it will find a bug with limited scope. I felt like I'm on a verge of being laid off because of this. I've been saying that QA automation did not work like that. My function is to speed up the repeating process of manual QA so they can focus more on new things to test. I felt like useless and unmotivated to this organization. I'm literally quiet quitting due to this. What is quiet quitting, anyways? Give me a second. Hold on. I need a definition. What is quiet quitting? Quiet quitting is when employees continue to put in the minimum amount of effort to keep their jobs, but don't go the extra mile for their employer. This might mean not speaking up in meetings, not volunteering for tasks, and refusing to work overtime. It might also result in greater absenteeism. Interesting. Okay, so that's what quiet quitting is. I stand informed. Okay, where were we? Okay. They won't listen to any of my feedback whatsoever. Felt like I don't belong to this team. I've been here for like 2 years. Oh my goodness, you need some punctuation. But pay is good and it is a remote job. One of my team members were laid off as well. Feels like I'm the next one. Due to this reason, I want to move to software dev as well. This job is thankless. No one appreciates this job. All right, so we made it through that struggle reading and start the clock. All right, I've seen this a few times. So let's address the first part of this question, rant, whatever we want to call it, right? The QA manager who thinks that automation is useless because it won't catch as many defects as compared to the manual team. It reminds me of when Uber was getting was getting like out there, and the taxi industry lobbied against Uber because you know it really just was a threat to the taxi because like for you to like let's say in New York for instance, right? To have a taxi medallion, it costs a lot of money. While driving Uber, you just have to sign up with Uber and have a car and you go from there. But there was all these restrictions and stuff like that. But if I know anything from watching Law and Order, I know that the taxi drivers in New York are terrible. So, I mean, what's the difference in jumping in an Uber if you guys are talking bad about them, right? And it's the same way when the car got developed and people were like, but what about the horses? You know? So, anytime innovation is going to come about, it's the same thing right now. Oh, with this dev and AI, what about the software engineers? What about this? What when the kiosks come out at McDonald's, like what about the people who mess up your order and they're rude and have an attitude with you? What about them? So, what I'm saying is that if your QA manager is thinking back in like the 1990s when there's not like automation, thinking that QA automation is supposed to find bugs, no, that is not the purpose of QA automation. It is to make sure that the software is working continuously. And this is the problem that old school QA people have. They think that their job is to find bugs. No, quality assurance is to assure quality. Make sure that the quality of the product that you're producing is good. Right? Simple as that. And through that process, you might end up finding bugs and defects and things like that, but that isn't the primary goal. And if you are doing it the right way, the amount of defects you find should be minimal. So what this QA manager is doing is having a slew, an army of QA testers to test the same things over and over and over again on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. And here's the problem. It's impossible. It is absolutely, if you remember when we were watching the Robert C. Martin video, he was talking about when the company needs to cut the budget and they say, all right, you have to get rid of half of your team. And okay, so now you have all these manual test cases to run and you ask, which test cases should we run? This half or that half? Well, the answer simply is the half of the application you want to work. That's it. The half you want it to work. That's the half that you're going to run. So what you did, my friend, with bad punctuation and grammar, you correctly explained the purpose of using Selenium and automated tests. Now, your manager might not understand how this helps the organization. So therefore, you should leave. See, I hope that you continue to and this is for everyone. Always have your resume up to date. Always list the things, the value that you're bringing, because when you're working with someone who doesn't understand the way that software engineering, software development works, then you end up finding yourself in the position of wanting to quit and feeling underappreciated. I will I always have the mindset of go where you're appreciated, not where you're tolerated. Simple as that. So, with that being said, you feel like if you know the type of value that you bring, the type of work that you do, then why are you feel bound to this particular place? Oh, maybe you're comfortable because you get to work remote and the pay is good and stuff like that, but it's killing you inside. It is absolutely killing you inside. So I think that you should make an attempt to, you could go to software dev in that same organization if you want, or to another place. But if you truly enjoy QA and are passionate about QA, then just go find a company who actually understands the purpose of automated testing and the value that it brings to the organization and the safety that QA automation brings to an organization. Because I'll tell you this, at my company, I am responsible for, in the team that I work for, the automated tests that run on a daily basis, and on adding to the automated tests, developing new automated tests so that we can secure our software, to fortify our software. Because if we're not able to run every single time we're going to push a release, if we're not able to run a slew of tests like API tests, different backend tests, functional tests like UI tests, all these different type of tests. If we're not able to run those, especially in the industry and the department that I'm in, we are going to have a world of trouble. And then when all of our tests pass and then something does still go wrong, that gives us another opportunity to add tests. But with the speed that we develop, not having automated tests is impossible to get by. So if they don't understand, then why are you don't try to beat it into a brick wall? See me? I don't argue with people. I do not argue with people. If you don't if I'm explaining what's going on and you want to go back and forth about why this isn't important and stuff like that, then like, cool. I will find somebody who finds it important and then we'll make it work from there, right? If you don't value it, by all means, so be it. And I will go where my work is valued. So I would implore you to embrace that mindset of going where the work that you do is appreciated and you're not feeling undervalued and useless and thankless and all that type of stuff, right? So that is the way that I see this situation. All right, let's check out the chat. And guess who I got here? I got C. Marshall in the chat. And I'll tell you this, C. Marshall here is amazing. Gave me some great insights on the mobile app that I have been implementing in the morning, and I'm getting ready to do the next beta test release of the time cost calculator app very, very soon. So I really, really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
All right, C. Marshall says, attempting to leverage automation testing to promote exploratory testing. I've never seen that happen. Yeah, I've never seen that happen successfully either. Maybe that is something at some point that AI can help us with, but I don't know. Like it's like, because the way that I see it, like, how do you know what should work and what shouldn't work if there's not some type of like you don't know what you're exploring, and that's why they call it exploratory testing. So I think that the QA manager shouldn't be the QA manager, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. And Mitch says, worst place to be is where you're not valued or wanted. That's a fact. That is a fact. All right. Let's get to our next question of the night.
Another one.
I feel like I chose the wrong career. That is never a good start to a question. Does anyone else feel like they chose the wrong career path? I regret going into testing. From what I've seen, testing is the worst role in tech. It's not respected by a lot of companies. Testers are the first to go in any organization. Less and less companies are hiring QAs these days. The list goes on and on. Okay, this is going to be a sad night, apparently. This does not seem like a stable profession, and if I have a mortgage on a house, how the F am I going to pay the bills as a QA when it's such an unstable career? What other fields can I transition into? All right, let's start the clock. So I would adamantly disagree with the sentiment of testing is the worst role in tech. There are other roles that are much, much worse. So start off with that. Now, it's not respected by a lot of companies. I tend to disagree. I tend to disagree with the whole sentiment. Why do I disagree with the sentiment, right? Because the reason I disagree with the sentiment is because you are responsible for the perception of your role and value to the organization. If like for me at least, if I didn't value a role, I just wouldn't hire it. So I'll give you an example. I don't like taking notes, and because it's hard for me to focus on a conversation and also take notes on the conversation. So instead of hiring an assistant to take notes for me, I just pay AI like what's the service? I pay this AI service I don't know, like $20 a month or something like that to jump on every call that I'm on, like not for work, but for coaching and whatever meetings that I have personally. It jumps on the call, part of my Google Meet, and it takes all the notes for me and then it sends me a summary and I know exactly what's going on. And then when I have a meeting with that person again, I can go back to those notes and see, okay, what was the action items for the person? Do I need anything prepared for this meeting and everything like that? And even sends me an email when I have recurring meetings on the calendar to say, hey, this is what you had in the last meeting, but I can't afford an assistant. I can't afford a human person to do this. So I didn't value having a human assistant, but I valued having an AI assistant, right? The reason I share that is because you are responsible for the value that you bring to your company. So if you are not bringing value, then they will see you as value dash less. Now, what I do personally is I go out there and I look for the different things that are missing, the different holes, the different gaps in the process and stuff like that, and I try to plug those holes. So when you see me teaching about how to use Docker and how to use Terraform and stuff like that, that's because I saw those particular gaps in like different roles that I've been in, different in my company and stuff like that. That I said, hey, you know what? I can go here and add some value. And then so now I'm adding value to the engineers, and they say, okay, you know what? We really appreciate the work that Tech Coach Ralph is doing, and I mean they don't call me that at work, but you know what I mean. Like taking like alleviating us from having to worry about this, and we can focus on building the application. And I'm like, okay, so now I need some infrastructure to be set up. I'm gonna go do that. Oh, I need to update the automation framework. Let me go do that. Oh, I need to do this presentation for the QA chapter. Or let me go do that. And I'm always looking and I'm always maneuvering to say, okay, what else can I do to add value to my organization? So therefore, like when things start to happen, it's okay, you know what? We do need to make cuts, but we're not going to look at this person because they have done A, B, C, and D. And there's so many other positions there's so many like different things that they can do to help further our organization. Right. And you're right about the part that less and less companies are hiring QA these days. And the thing is, they're hiring less manual QAs and hiring more QA engineers who can be very dynamic in the work that they do, from manual testing, from writing test plans, from communicating with engineers, from infrastructure type stuff. See, I'm gonna let you this. I am your worst nightmare. Me. In QA, because I push the bar further and further and further, because I say, you know what? QA should know how to build infrastructure. QA should know how to use Docker, how to use AWS, how to use Amazon Web Services. QAs should be willing to pioneer and pushing through to the future. See, but if you want to just sit back and not learn anything new, not contribute and everything like that, and just expect, I just want to sit here, get the test, and then execute them, and then that's it, then that's when you become the first to be let go. Because you like if you're doing what they can hire somebody in a foreign country to do for 10 times less the price, then why are they going to keep you? See? And when you say you're just a tester, see, I will never refer to myself as a tester. I'm an engineer. And I innovate and I pioneer, and like I'm always looking like so many different tools, like just this past week or so, helping one of my coworkers set up some Docker work, like for an image, and like some very custom stuff that you wouldn't even think about a QA person doing. But not only did I have the research capability and the mindset to do it, I also enabled that coworker to go into the realms that he's never gone before, using Docker and different libraries and stuff like that. And to me, that is the value that you need to look to bring to your organization, not just sitting around, oh, let me execute this test, let me execute that test. With that mindset, then you will go very, very, very far in tech, and you will see that testing is not the worst role in tech. All right? All right. All right. Let's take a look at the chat. I got my guy Pluto in here. I'm technically Tim says worse is a strong word. Tell me about it. My goodness. I was like, and Mitch says, crazy part is no matter what role a company / people you can work with can make you feel like a role is bad. Yeah, I mean, it can make you feel bad, but I always look at, okay, what can I do to not have that experience, you know? And like whenever I start feeling like devalued, I'm like, all right, cool, it's time to go. Like let's go somewhere else. And then bring crazy value to that next organization. And we thought you were Einstein with that memory. When your manager asks, what do you bring to the table? Are you smart? I am the that is a good. I like that one. I like that one. I am the feature. And how you doing as well, Pluto? Happy to have you here as always. Shout out to Pluto.
I appreciate you.
And we got look who we got.
Good guy.
Says Tech Coach Ralph is the David Goggins of QA and test. I like that. And I like that. Mitch says I'm him. You guys are too funny. All right. So before we go on to our next question, if you haven't done so yet, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. And if you need one-on-one help or additional content, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev where you can get additional content as well as one-on-one coaching. All right. And let's get to the rest of the comments. Oh, and I have another. I'm going to do it after the fourth question. I have another announcement after the fourth question. But Pluto says, at my current role, I used to be stressed and didn't like the job because of my negative coworkers. But once I started coming in, putting my noise canceling headphones on, I started to like my job. That is true. That is true. Like, and there's a lot of places that I go where people are just chatterboxes, and I'm like, all right, find a way to tune them out, right? And the question though, Pluto, is it Bose headphones or Beats by Dre headphones? Which one is it? Beats or Bose? What is your preferred noise canceling headphones? Or is it Sony? I might be totally off. And Pluto says, sometimes it's not the work, just the people. Totally right about that. All right. So I am going to go to our next question. All right. So this is going to be a pretty sad one, but
Another one.
so failed my ISTQB exam today. Unfortunately, I've got only 24 out of 40 correct answers. I'm looking to get my second try, so any advice for the next attempt? I felt like I was doing a good job, but unfortunately, the final grade showed the opposite. I can't think of anything right now. My mind is wandering to the next date when I'll retake my exam. I haven't scheduled it yet. All right, so I am going to say that you actually did better than me on the ISTQB exam because I got a 0 out of 40 because I did not take the ISTQB exam because I quite frankly don't care about the ISTQB exam. So I know a lot of... See, if I had mentioned the word boot camps, and Mitch would say boot camps, but this is not boot camps. This is ISTQB. I've told you my experience in the past with ISTQB. If you are not in already like working in QA, I don't think that I think they give you the allure that the ISTQB exam is going to help you and it's going to put you in this particular position to get a job when quite frankly, I have never been asked or asked when interviewing, do you have your ISTQB certification? No companies actually ever care. The only time I've seen companies, like I've seen a few companies mention it, at least here in the US. I don't know about in other countries and stuff like that, but I've seen it like when it comes to like maybe government contracting positions, but so many people in QA live and die by the ISTQB exam. And I would say, you know what? You should focus more on building practical skills, practical applications, doing the different type of testing, learning automation testing, writing test cases, writing defects and stuff like that. Joining, like finding practical examples and practical projects to work on instead of just trying to study some theoretical stuff that when you go to actually encounter a QA problem and you get asked about it, you start giving a 10-minute soliloquy. And then I'm like, okay, but what's the answer though? And then you answer incorrectly. That is my biggest pet peeve. It's like watching Billy Madison when he's talking about the Industrial Revolution and he's talking about a little dog and rambling for about 5 minutes. And then he actually says absolutely nothing. Right. So that like, and that's the problem that I have with the all theory, no practical application. A lot of times when you are like building practical application, you end up building the theory with it. And I always recommend people, hey, if you want to get into QA, you should take a comprehensive QA course. I don't call it manual testing. I call it comprehensive QA, where they talk about all the different types of testing. I have some videos on this channel about it as well, but they talk about all the different types of testing and how to perform them and how to write defects and stuff like that. And then you actually apply it by like, I just don't like to focus on the theory that much because they just start rambling. I asked a basic question like, okay, if you have to test something between like the requirement says the limits are between 15 and 40, right? So what is it that you're going to test? And they start talking about this. I can't even. It was these big words. Me, I'm simple. I don't like big words and stuff like that. You see me struggling with 3-syllable words, and I'm like, okay. So was there an answer in there? And then they're like, oh, okay. So I'm gonna go for negative 1,000 and 500 and 25. I'm like, okay, but what about this and this? Well, I'm like, no, what about that? And it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm like, okay, that's the problem with the theory. Like, you need to build that practical application and understand why you're doing the things that you're doing. And that's why, like, when you say you failed your ISTQB exam, it's probably because you don't know anything about QA yet. So you're studying like this document, and then you want to be able to answer a bunch of questions. But I would say most of the people who are like, not even that they use it, but who can do really well on the ISTQB are the ones who have been in QA for a while. And then when they study, like, okay, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense. When you're trying to do it the other way around, it becomes really, really tricky. And I'll tell you this, because a lot of people, a lot of college graduates, computer science grads, information systems grads and stuff like that, they come out of college and they go into QA jobs. We do not I've never interviewed someone who's coming out of college and said like, hey, do you have your ISTQB, or seen that they had it? Like, because even college doesn't teach you anything about QA, about testing. So that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, don't harp on these tests that aren't required and they don't necessarily add any practical value. For me, like, the amount of money that you're spending on taking this test, it would be so much better if you were to go on a simple course like Udemy or Coursera, buy um, a comprehensive testing course, and follow that and actually do the practice problem that they have in there. I mean, that is how I learned a majority of the things that I'm able to share with you. Like the Terraform work that we're doing, went on Udemy, got a Terraform course, and then learned it on my own from there. So and then with the practical knowledge that I'm getting from that, I could at some point go get the HashiCorp certification for Terraform because I have actually built a lot of practical knowledge. So now when I go and I study the information for the test, I can relate it back to what I'm actually learning, and I probably know at least half of that at this point. And I just have to like do the studying to actually pass the test. Get the theory after I have a good understanding of the practical. That's how my mind works. Hopefully that can help you as well. And all right, we are filling up on the comments. All right, let's go. So who says none? AirPods. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And Mitch says as they aren't Apple. Well, sorry for that. Sorry for that, Mitch. And Darcy says I got Raycon earbuds. I heard of Raycon. And yeah, that is Ray J's brand. And Pluto says, I tried the Sony and didn't feel like I could control the noise cancellation. It was the XM5. Interesting. See, look what I started. And that says that they get the job done. And Darcel says, I think he sold his shares recently. Gotcha. And Pluto says, I need new over-the-head headphones, but they always break because I got. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I got what do I got? I got the Beats Studio wireless, and I got I have like a bunch of headphones, and I also got the Power Beats Pro, the ones that like wrap around your ears, because my ears are significantly deformed. So whenever I try to wear AirPods or any of those, they always fall off, and then it's always a nightmare. So yeah, so that's why I have to wear those. And I guess he needed the cash or using the gains for something else, possibly. And yes, I'm thinking Tim, Udemy is a godsend. And I've been using Udemy since 2015. 2015. Like if we go back to my Udemy history, I think my first course had to be in like 2015. Just I was doing QA for years at that point, but I needed to organize my QA skills and everything like that. So and then also to get a better understanding of Java. So I got all those courses, never more than $20, and it's been amazing since then. All right, but yeah, I always recommend Udemy at least to get started. Because a lot of people, they'll jump straight into a boot camp and then they find out, oh, this wasn't really for me, but they've already spent like $6,000-$7,000 when you can just get a Udemy course for like $20-$30. And if you pay for full price, like $100 maybe, and you already see what you're getting yourself into. So that's why I'm like always like do like low barrier to entry to see, is this really for me? So like I got I have the Python course, I have the web development course, all for low cost, and I've learned so much from all of that, right? And Dr. Zip says, Coach is a Udemy OG. Yes, I've been in the mean streets of Udemy for a very, very long time. All right, let's just jump into our next question for tonight.
Another one.
This one says, stuck on learning Python. I have zero coding experience and I started learning Python a week ago, and it seems very confusing and hard, but I'm not ready to give up. But I barely understand anything, and I tried YouTube, but it is no use. Excuse me. I can't neither. I can't use Code Academy because I have to pay for it, and I am stuck on learning Python as it is very confusing. Help me by giving me free resources to learn that actually makes you create projects and stuff. So I just finished saying that you can go on Udemy and get a course for like 15, 20, 30 bucks when they're on sale. And I'm curious, how much does Code Academy cost? Now I'm curious. Is it an egregious amount of money that for individuals it is $0 for the basic plan and then $14.99 a month billed annually or $29.99 billed monthly. So 15 to 30 bucks a month if you want to use Code Academy, or you can go to them. You can either sign up for a plan with them or you can buy the course individually. So why is it that we do not want to pay for our education? See, and this is the part that kills me. I'm pretty sure 99% of us, okay, not 99%, but a good amount of us, at least most of us here, have some type of college experience. Whatever we might have went to for college for. I know, like, some people, they go to college because when I was in high school, I was doing dual enrollment, and I loved not necessarily criminal justice, but I loved the learning about the laws and stuff like that. And there was like so many people doing criminal justice. And then you can have people doing like English majors and stuff like that. My favorite, political science, all of these, right? So we'll go to school, we'll spend $100,000 on a major that we will have absolutely no use for whatsoever. And then we want to protest student loan and wanting to get it wiped out because of our own poor decisions. But now, when you have the opportunity to spend maybe a Udemy course or $15 to $30 monthly to learn something that's going to add value to you, we say, nope, we can't do it because we have to pay for it. So, and you just want to stick to YouTube. Like, YouTube is great. Trust me, I love YouTube and the videos that they give, but it is hard. Like, if someone doesn't have a step-by-step playlist on YouTube, it's going to be hard. And another thing that happens is, even with the step-by-step playlist, you might have a question about something, like something's not working for you, and you post a comment and you might never get a response on that comment because content creators are super, super busy. When you're using tools like Code Academy, most likely, and definitely with Udemy, in most of the courses that I've taken, they give you access to a Discord where you can interact and ask questions and stuff like that. There's also the ability to ask questions in the actual course on Udemy to get that answered. So many resources, but we don't want to pay for it. And it's such a low cost as well. So if you are looking to further your skills and to enhance your ability, why do we make like such a big deal? Now, is it possible that this person right here is in another country where it's hard for them to pay for stuff? Quite possibly, but we need to invest in the things that are important for us. We need to invest in the things that are important for us. Like that is the number one thing. Now, if you're looking for a free, I can probably find one free resource. I mean, there's probably more, but I'm pretty sure that Free Code Camp has a Python course and stuff like that. But from like when I've used Free Code Camp in the past, I remember that they've been more focused on HTML, JavaScript, CSS, not as much on Python, but which, they might have some Python stuff on there. But I would definitely recommend going on Udemy, getting a Python course, getting it on sale, and then going through that where you have the resources where people can actually help you and you're actually building actual projects. I learned Python. Well, I learned Python in like two ways, but I'll give you a quick history. before I even knew anything about Python, I was helping my cousin to write she was doing a project for her master's thesis, and I helped her with the concept of object-oriented programming that I knew from Java to write her code in Python and do her testing and everything like that. But then when I said, all right, let me formally learn Python, that was about 2 years ago, where I took a course on Udemy and I just followed through the whole course and I became a very, very proficient and pretty good in Python, enough to get hired at a job. And I use Python every single day now, right? So there are resources, but the problem is when you attach the word free for it, then I'm going to be honest with you. You turn a lot of people away who would be willing and able to help you because you're not investing in yourself. And for me personally, the biggest problem that I have with people is when they refuse to invest in themselves. We will spend a bunch of money on a bunch of other stuff that is not really useful to us. But, like a $100,000 degree of how to weave baskets underwater. But to learn how to do Python, web development, things that not only can work for a company, but you can build applications for yourself. We don't want to spend the time or the money on that. So that is where we're at. That is where we are at. All right. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So Pluto says, I just got Udemy Business from Western Governors University. I always forget the name. Yeah, Western Governors University. Decided to not do comp science degree. Gonna just get a BS in cyber, 9 classes to compete. Then I will use Udemy for coding. That's a great idea perfectly as well. Because I think the cyber is adjacent enough, and as long as you learn the other stuff, I think that's gonna be great. So shout out. My guy Pluto puts in so much work and is so strategic. Like he showed me a spreadsheet of about like the different plans and different routes. So shout out to that. And I bought code with Mosh courses too. Has there ever been a fitness episode? What do you mean by that? Fitness episode? I'm a little slow sometimes, so give me some clarification on that. It says a lot of companies even pay for Udemy. They already have a company account. And I'll tell you this, right? A few weeks ago, I was talking to a Discord that I'm in, the Grammar Hub Discord. And on my resume, I actually have listed the Udemy courses that I've taken. And they're like, is that really necessary, like, to have the Udemy? Because a lot of times people, we just want to have like our college education or maybe a boot camp. And I said, well, the companies pay for Udemy. So if the companies value Udemy enough to pay for it, why would I not list it as part of my education? Because if my education doesn't show that I have I have this part and that part, I can say, oh yeah, I did this on Udemy, and if they pay for it, then and I pay for it, what's the difference? So I definitely put it. So that's great point. And let's see. Good guy says Tech Coach Ralph, Test Academy when? I don't think so. There's already a lot out there. And if I had to do it again, I would use Western Governors University for bachelor's and master's, $10,000. Study abroad for $5,000 to learn a language fluently and live cheaply and build memories for 2 years. Build projects through Udemy for free. Like I said, Pluto has a game plan that is out of this world. $20K total, 2 years. It says, or 200 half a night, a club. Facts. 200 a night. That's what I'm talking about. And good guy says, this thought about boot camps, when you drop real cash into learning, you ought to get something. I would hope so. But I mean, but I'll tell you this, right? I'll tell you this. When talking to Pluto the other day, talking about the structure of WGU, where you pay per 6 month span and not per credit. Um, you can get like a bachelor's or a master's or whatever the case may be for for almost like the price you'd pay for a boot camp, and you're actually getting a bachelor's in computer science as opposed to just a 6 month crash course in software engineering. So things to consider, things to consider. And I'm technically Tim says, I also think when resources is free, most people subconsciously associate less value with it and don't take it seriously as they would if they're 100%. 100%. And you know, it's true. Um, but those free resources, like I've learned so much on like YouTube, like trying to figure something out, and like the Udemy courses, I've learned so much on Udemy that it's crazy. And I'm like, I remember when I got my first course and it was so cheap. I'm like, wow, I actually learned something from this. And I was like, I valued everyone, and I have a bunch of courses that I just purchased that I haven't got into because I didn't need to yet. But you know, at some point, either I'm gonna go through it, or as my kid gets older and he's gonna start learning this stuff. So you know, all right. So what is this? Fitness plus IT, kind of like a health episode, since most people in IT neglect fitness to some degree. Good point. That's a good point. Put IT in fitness. Yeah, I see. The thing is with fitness and nutrition and stuff like that, it's almost like talking about religion and politics at times because like talking about food and you know where like how, because I'll tell you this, I am like probably going to be one of the most efficient people that you're going to find. So I like my workouts, the tools that I use for my workouts. Maybe I'll have maybe I'll talk about this one day. But like I have like my workouts, I get a full training, like muscles exhausted in about 10 to 15 minutes, and I keep it moving, right? So that's how I'm able to get so much done because I like the same way that I automate at work, I automate all of the things. So I can spend like lifting weights a very short amount of time, and then I can spend a bunch of time doing like jujitsu and stuff. So I can spend like 2 hours doing jujitsu training and sparring and stuff like that because that is like more meaningful to me. And I've never really enjoyed going to the gym and lifting weights and stuff like that. Fighting for machines and say, hey, can I jump in? Can I jump in on your rest set and stuff like that? So, you know, and he says, not if you keep drinking. I got water. I haven't drank energy drink since I drove back home on Friday, Mitch. Come on, give me a break, all right? And I'm thinking to them, by the way, are those BJJ picks behind you? Yes, those are BJJ picks. That those were from like competitions that I had over the years. Yeah, so that's what they are. BJJ picks, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. All right, so announcement. So where is this thing? Copy link. All right, so let's put this in a new window. Let's go. Oh, we're going to share the screen just for a second. I created this event. I'm gonna do it on Google Meet, where I'm going to just have a QA talk. You know, different. You know, whether you're trying to get into QA, whether you are already in QA, we're going to have a. We're just gonna chat. I wanted to discuss about experiences in QA, different tools, different challenges, and ideas for networking. So I'm gonna post this into the chat, and feel free to sign up. And good guys, send me a message on Discord when you get a chance. Good guys, so I want to talk to you about something. But feel free to sign up on the Eventbrite. On the Eventbrite page, I think it has like 25 tickets, but I'm also going to post the Google link once those tickets are done, and because it's open for like as many people that Google Meet can take, and we can just chat. Different people just chat. I want to talk to different people in the QA industry, and whether you're trying to get into it or whether you have been in it, whether you are like in between jobs in QA, whatever the case may be, and just hang out. And based on how that one goes, I might do those. I don't know how often yet, but do them on a somewhat regular basis where we can just hang out, talk QA. All right. So the link is in the chat for that, and sign up, and we can have that conversation. You can do it from vacation, good guy. Come on, good guy.
Good guy.
All right, so definitely check it out, sign up, and looking forward to seeing you there on Google Meet where we can just hang out and chat. All right, and I am not going to record it, so if you miss it, then you miss it. Or maybe I might. I don't know. I'll think about it. Actually, no, I think I am going to record it. I don't know. We'll see. But let's get back to it. All right. And shout out to you, Gregory. Great to see you. All right. Let's get to our next question. But before we get to our next question, do me a big favor if you haven't done so yet, because I know this show is super exciting. And you might have came in here and you forgot to do me a favor and click the like button and share the video and subscribe to the channel. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. And if you need additional content and one-on-one coaching, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev. All right. Okay. So let's jump into our next question.
Another one.
So, starting the automation for my company from scratch. I'm a manual tester with over 3 years of experience. I was hired for a startup in India for the same role. However, since most of my work is dependent on developers, I have some bandwidth to take on more work. My managers are insisting I look into automating our company's website. I know a little bit of Python, but I have lost touch with coding and I don't know where to begin as I have zero experience in automation. I saw several options to begin. Selenium with Java, Selenium with Python. I would prefer this as I know Python a little. Cypress, Playwright. The front end of the website is in JavaScript and TypeScript, along with React, and the back end is in Python. Fast API. Please suggest me a path I can take to start. Awesome question. And we're off to the races. So this is a tricky one because you have some background with Python, and so a lot of times we will mix up the QA work that we need to do, the automation work that we need to do based on what the developers are doing, right? So for the reason I mentioned that, the front end is in JavaScript and TypeScript with React, and the back end is in Python, Fast API. Not a big deal. That doesn't mean that you need to use Python or Cypress or Playwright or anything like that. If you were going to use, like, if you're going to put in the same repo, you could use Cypress, and you could also use that to test the API if you wanted. If you want to use Python, then you can easily, like, I would definitely go with Selenium with Python. If you are familiar with like the basics of Python and data types and things like that. And you can also use Playwright in Python as well, which would allow you to use the Python request to do your API testing, as well as whether you're doing Selenium or Playwright. The thing is, if you guys have followed the QA that we've been doing on Thursdays, the automation we've been doing on Thursdays, they're not that much different. Like using Playwright, using Selenium, using Cypress is a little bit different, but they're not that much of a difference. So I would say that so I always kind of tend to lean towards Selenium because that one is the biggest. It has the most resources available, the most documentation available, but also using Playwright is not a problem. I know Good Guy likes Playwright, and honestly, I would say like if you have the bandwidth, try both. Like if you're just automating a company website, I'm not even sure what the API backend that you have for the company website, but do both. If you have the time, like if you're trying to learn, to follow my videos that I've been doing on Thursdays where we're doing automation in all three, and you can see which one that you like, and you can just build up the foundation. Like the way that I always show to get started is writing the most basic test ever, and then refactoring it, doing your page object model, making it clean, or make it work and then make it clean. Make it work and then make it clean. So that would be what I recommend. Let me see. But it is good though that you have that initiative to, or at least your boss, your manager is insisting on you automating the company website. I wish it was your initiative to do it, but it's still good that you're going in that direction. But like I said, I wouldn't go into Java if you don't have any familiarity yet with Java, because Java is a lot tougher to learn than Python. And being that you have that Python knowledge, I would probably go with Selenium with Python, and then eventually go with Playwright. One of the reasons I like Selenium is that you can easily add the mobile testing aspect to it as well if you needed to, as well as connect a plethora of other tools and frameworks to it. So that's my recommendation. Also being able to do the API testing. So that's the direction that I would lean towards. But you could go with Cypress, but then you'd also have to learn JavaScript and TypeScript and things like that in order to use Cypress in the way that it is. So if you want to stick with Python, go with Selenium or go with Playwright or go with both. And then you're going to be using the request library to do your API test for the backend. All right. So hopefully that helps. All right. All right. Let's see what we have in the chat. So Gregory asked, what is Chaos Cap? That is a great question. So Chaos Cap is a GitHub repository that my friend Don created, where he puts very complex problems that you have to solve. They're based on different real world experiences that we've seen. So in the past, I've done challenges like getting a MP3 file and parsing it and getting the metadata out of it. I've done the rock, paper, scissors challenge where you have to automate testing rock, paper, scissors to see that you're getting the right testing the gameplay of that, and that it's random when it returns the rock, paper, or the scissors. There's so many different challenges that's in there that it's going to help stimulate your mind, to help you think, and it's going to help you become a better QA engineer. So I always highly recommend that you go and you do Chaos Camp challenges, especially to it's very, very challenging. But if you start and you get stuck, and you figure out a way around it. So Always recommending Chaos Camp for Life. Chaos Camp for Life. And is the Discord a part of the Patreon? Uh, can you specify which Discord that you're referring to? I do not have a Discord that is associated with my Patreon. For like my coaching students, my coaching group, I have a Slack group because that's what you're going to be using at work. So so that's what I use for communication. Because what are your thoughts on Cypress? I mean, for me, it's cool. It's just another automation thing. But the thing that I'm not crazy about it is that it's not like it's semi open source, but semi proprietary. And it is, and it's only in JavaScript slash TypeScript. You can't use it in other languages. So that's like what I don't like about it. And Pluto says, is it better to learn a complex language like C++ or C# than Java than Python? If not for work, just to build literacy across the board. It depends. It depends on what you're going to be using it for. C# and C++, like C# and Java are almost identical. Is except C# is based on like Microsoft and .NET, and Java is not. But those two are like, so if you were to learn C# or Java, like you can easily go back and forth between them. C++, that is different, and that is more for like building softwares and stuff like that. Python is probably one of the easier ones. But I would go with like, I would say it depends on the person, but I wouldn't say it's better. I would say getting a good understanding of the coding and object oriented programming would be the primary thing that I would be looking for. Getting a good understanding of how coding works in general, and then if I have to go from there, honestly. Like, but I wouldn't make it super complex just to get started on it. And let's see. Chaos Camp. Let me see what Odin, because I heard someone mention Odin Project, but I'm not too familiar with Odin Project. Odin Project. Not really. I can let me pull up Chaos Camp real quick, just so I can give a so Chaos Camp. Let's see. So Chaos Camp. It's just a GitHub repo, and it will have different challenges. So, for example, this is the rock paper scissors challenge. You've been provided with the rock paper scissors API. So, for everyone who wants to learn about API testing, you're tested to write a series of tests against this API to ensure its correctness. Along with the basic tests, you also need to test the computer's weapon choices are indeed random. So it gives you the API endpoints. So for those who want to learn APIs, right, and how to test them and things like that, it gives you like the different endpoints and the payload that you send and the responses that you're supposed to get. And it asks you like these are the different tests that you have to come up with, right? And then if we scroll down some more, how to get it to run on your machine locally. This is using Python, or how you can do it with Docker as well. So in this one challenge, there's a bunch of different different learning opportunities that you have. So like, for instance, with this part, if you're going to do the Docker part, you need to have Docker installed on your computer. You need to execute the Docker build command and see all the things that it's doing. You need to be able to run a Docker container. And then how to access it, the API. So like through Postman and stuff like that, reading the docs and things like so it's not necessarily like the Odin project. It's more like little it's more like little challenges that Don created based on real life examples and experiences that we've come across. And so it's just like a full end to end testing example that you can um, take part in, as well as getting some familiarity with Python, with Uvicorn framework, with Docker, and then having to write tests and stuff like that. So especially for people who are interested in QA, I always recommend the Chaos Camp challenges. There's a bunch of challenges over there that if you work through, it's going to make your thinking and your testing abilities so much better. So just wanted to share that real quick. And if there's ever any questions about Chaos Camp, do not hesitate to ask me, and I will get the answer for you. I'll answer it for you, or I will get the answer from Don for you as well. Don is super, super busy, so he is not as available as he used to be to come and hang out. But I will have him back on shortly. All right, let's get to our next question for tonight. We are following a theme tonight, aren't we? All right.
Another one.
So this one says demotivated and lost. Accepting tips on career improvement. Well, you've come to the right place. I've been a QA for the last 3 years in 2 different companies. And lately, I've been having a somewhat kind of imposter syndrome, feeling like I'm useless in my team and utterly demotivated. I blame it mostly on the work environment since people don't really care for my insights, tests, and bugs and wait on the client to complain to get something done. There have been cases where I complained about one specific bug for 2 weeks on our day lives. I don't know what that means. No one batted an eye on it until the client complained on it. They were really pissed about it and went on saying, "Oh, we didn't know about it. We'll fix it ASAP." That's when the demotivation started. I'm a newbie when it comes to programming. I know only the basics. I'm trying to learn automation, but I usually get stuck or bored since there's no room to actually apply it where I work. And I end up stopping the courses. On manual QA, all courses I've done on Udemy are kind of shallow and don't help me a lot. I wanted to get, oh, here we go again with this nonsense. I wanted to get CTFL certified, but it's so expensive for me right now. It costs like 20 to 30% of my salary that I cannot do it yet. So you must be like in a foreign country. Do you guys have any courses or books you'd recommend so I can get better at being a QA? Or also any tips on where to go next to improve my chances of getting a better job? So let's start the timer. Here is the problem. So, number one, so many people are in their feelings. Too many people are way into their feelings about, oh, my feelings are hurt and I have imposter syndrome and stuff like that. If, like for me at least, if I have clearly communicated what the problem is and, and I say, okay, this needs to be fixed and stuff like that, and, nothing happens and they wait until the customer complains about it, then they want to jump on it. Cool. Like, that is like, I'm not going to lose sleep over that. I'm not going to get demotivated because I'm like, hey, guess what? I was right. I told you what the problem was. You guys didn't fix it. All right, cool. Let's move on. So that's the number one thing. People are way too in their feelings about like, oh, no one likes me. I remember the question that we had a while ago about like, oh, my coworkers had a meeting without me, when it was like 2 friends who were talking to each other after a canceled meeting, and then you're like, oh, why wasn't I invited? Well, the reason that you were invited is because you were annoying, right? Anyways, going off. But for me, like I've always created my own work environment. And whenever someone was getting to the or someone or a group of people or whatever, we're getting to the point of being an impediment to the work I was doing, then I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna be like LeBron James and I'm gonna take my talents to South Beach. And I just keep it moving. By the way, I think Mitch's favorite basketball player of all time is LeBron James, but don't tell him I said that. Anyways, um, anyways, so we have to like stop getting in our feelings when it comes to our work. You know, you have to make sure that you're putting out the best work possible, and then let the chips fall where they may. Right? That's how I've always seen it. I don't. I'd be more bothered by me missing something and the client catching it than me reporting it and then nothing is done about it and then the client reports it and then they want to fix it. For me, as long as it's getting fixed, and if you guys want to make the company look bad, then that's on you. But I know that I'm clearly documenting all the work that I was supposed to do, and everything is there. It's my T's are crossed and my I's are dotted, and we go from there. So now here comes the real problem. Here comes the real problem. You're trying to learn automation, but you usually get stuck or bored. And when people say, oh, there's no room to apply it where I work, there is always room to apply automation, especially if you're in QA trying to learn automation and stuff like that. Because all you have to do is automate the manual stuff that you're testing. And here's the part that drives me crazy. I would I would automate my work because that's going to give me experience. And when I need to test something manually, I can just run my automated test and I can see it working. So there's always opportunity. Like what I'm trying to have people understand is you need to create your own opportunities. And now, after you've automated this, whatever work that you have to do, and now you're having your performance review and stuff like that, and you're talking like, oh yeah, like during my time, I worked the extra 2 hours so I can automate this, and this is what I did. Now you have talking points, and you show that you're showing initiative. So many things that you can do to show value, right? So that when your manager says, "What do you bring to the table?" you can be like Pluto and says, "I am the feature," right? I am the feature. But if we want to cry and if we want to say, "Oh, nobody likes me and they don't listen to me and I don't know what to do. I'm getting bored. There's no room to apply it." I'm like, there are so many different opportunities. Like I'll give you another example. Do you ever go to any website? Do you go to YouTube? Do you go to Reddit? Why don't you automate? Why don't you automate going to the subreddits that you normally frequent? Right? You can say, okay, let me go and I'm gonna open these 3 browsers and I'm gonna go to like these 3 different subreddits. Or I'm going to my favorite YouTube channel. I'm gonna do, I don't know, whatever the thing may be. There's always something to automate. Like, why does it have to be only applied to the work that you do? And I think that is the problem. Like, we are not creative enough with our learning ability. And honestly, I think that's why people I think that's why people end up not succeeding, is because it's like, oh, it has to be like for this one specific purpose, instead of learning the thing and then apply and then like finding the purpose around it. It's We shoot ourselves in the foot. And then like talking about that the courses are shallow and don't help you. Well, you're not applying yourself, Smokey. You're not applying yourself. So tons of resources out there, but I think you already have the resource. Like, you already have the resources that you need. You're just not using them because if someone recommends you another course or another book, you're gonna get bored with it. And that's why especially when people say, "Oh, I already have these resources," but they're boring to me. I don't waste my time because like it is your job. Like whether it's boring or not boring, it is up to you to learn the material, to learn the content, and go from there. So use your Udemy courses and actually automate the work that you do on a day-to-day basis. And that's how you're going to learn. That's how I learned. I said, you know what? I'm doing this manual task. Even to the point of like, I don't like taking notes. Okay, let me get an AI bot to. I'm gonna get AI to help me take notes. You have to make the most of what you got, right? You have Udemy. Like you can't afford the C. Like, and what are you gonna do with the CTFL certificate? Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. All right, let's wrap this one up. Pluto says a lot of free resources out there. That is true. And Mitch says, meeting without me. I wish somebody I wish somebody would. I'm- that is hilarious. I'm him. I will unsubscribe from this channel ASAP. LeBron never. My bad. My bad. Don't do that. Don't do that, Mitch. Don't do that. That was just a terrible, terrible joke. And Peter says, another job, use the old one as the side hustle and don't take it. Exactly. Don't take it personal. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. All right. All right. We are going to get to our next question. But first, do me a big favor. If you are just tuning in, go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. And if you need one-on-one help, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev where you can sign up for one-on-one coaching with me. All right. So the next question of the night, because we have this question and one more, and then we are going to get out of here. So the next question says,
Another one.
I got fired for legitimate cause. All right, so is someone taking accountability? Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's see. Yesterday, I was fired for legitimate cause from my help desk position. I understand my wrongdoings and will use this as a learning opportunity. I've already started applying for jobs right upon termination, but will other employers contact my former employer who let me go? How do I go about this topic in interviews? Feeling like most depressed I've ever been in my entire life, and I know it is my fault. But this is also my first real job, and I just feel doomed. Well, I don't have a soundbite for that. But, start the clock. So, it might matter which country you're in, but from my understanding, if they contact your former employer, they can't necessarily talk bad about you. They can only confirm. Like if they don't have anything, you ever heard the saying, if they don't have anything nice to say, they don't say anything at all. So if they don't have anything nice to say about you, they can just confirm that you actually worked there in the past. But and I could be wrong about this. So if anybody's in HR or anybody knows this, please correct me. But from my understanding is when they contact your former employers, they can only confirm the dates that you worked there for. They cannot speak ill of you. So keep that in mind. Now, the question is, when you are applying for jobs and you're in the interview and they ask you, oh, why did you leave this prior company? How do you answer that? Because that's going to be a tough one. And, depending on what you did, not sure exactly what you did, you have to find a way to address, like, because they're going to ask you, oh, what are some challenges that you had? And maybe you can find a way of working that wrongdoing and that learning opportunity into that conversation. And that's just totally bad. Then you have to kind of be careful about that. But that's a good question. Like, how do you go about the topic in an interview of when you were fired for a legitimate cause. Hmm? Good one. It's a good one. Um, like I said, it depends on why you were fired and what the wrongdoing was, but you like depending on what it is, you can use that as a talking point of, like, because they always ask you, oh, tell me about a challenge that you faced. And you can say, oh, at a prior company, I did this thing and I learned that this is not the right way to do it. And moving forward, I've done A, B, C, and D, using that as a talking point. And here's the thing, I know that a lot of people battle from depression and stuff like that. And I've heard like Jordan Peterson's daughter talking about like when she had like those serious clinical depression and stuff like that. But feeling depressed because you lost your job is not going to get you another job. And you're just going to feel worse because you feel bad about losing your job, and now you're thinking about feeling bad about losing your job, and just going to be a cycle. So I would say find out, like, understand what you did wrong and fix it and practice and apply and do, like, find content that's going to help you to get better. And being that it's your first real job, you sound like you are very, very young. So the future looks bright. And, like, we can't be too doom and gloom. It's not like there are many people who get like to, their midlife and they're like, you know what? I want to change careers. I want to go into a different direction. And they do that, or they try to do that. It's not something that you can, like, being very young and having a mistake at work. All of us have had mishaps at work in our past. So you can't just like think that's the end. You need to lift up your chin and do what you got to do. Start applying, and, for help desk position. I'm really curious in like what exactly you did wrong. Like, did you curse out a customer or something? Who knows? Did you give out a password? Who knows, right? But I don't think that you can let that be the end of it. And there's, like, honestly, for me, a lot of times there's no room for feeling depressed because I just got to do what I got to do. And the more that I keep working and however I feel about it, it always turns out a victory for me. So hopefully that is able to help you as well. All right, let's wrap that one up. All right, let's get to our last question of the night before we wrap it up. We had an amazing show tonight, I must say. And on the last question, if you haven't done so already, do me a big favor: like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. All right, let's get to it.
Another one.
How do you deal with cookies in automation testing? When testing web applications with automation testing, tools such as Selenium WebDriver, how do you deal with cookies when executing your tests? If we look from a user's perspective, it's likely that the user already pressed accept or decline on the cookies question on their preferred browser and website. I'm currently trying to better my skills and mindset around software testing. My question to all of you experienced testers: how do you deal with this when scripting automation tests? Because it's most likely to not be something that pops up for a regular user that accepted or declined the cookie once, right? So that's a good question. And start the clock. So the way that this works when with cookies and stuff like that, I like what a lot of times when doing automation testing, it's going to open a brand new instance of the browser. So it's like it's never been used before. And when you go to the website and if there's a cookie pop-up, it's going to show up. And you're going to have to address that cookie pop-up based on how the site is built. So Once you accept it, it should, whether you declined or whether you said accept all or accept some, whatever the case may be, you're going to say it's going to store a cookie. And now there are a couple of things that can happen. Depending on how you're trying to, like what tests you're trying to run, I would say first thing I would do is I would tap into the cookies like that are being stored and say, okay, do we have a cookie existed for what I chose? So if you want to test cookies, if you click decline, what happens when you click on decline? Does it like not store any cookies at all? And you're going to query, or does it store a cookie that says do not store cookies? Like weird, but so I would say query like the cookie for that site is setting and see what the value is. And then when I click on accept, does it store a cookie to accept all cookies? Or if I click on another option, what does it do? What if I don't click on anything? What does it do? So that's around testing the cookies itself. Now, the other thing is, if you were to see, I want to see if the pop-up is going to happen a second time if I navigate back to the site. So that means I cannot just close the browser or like just run the test over again. I would have to say, okay, I'm going to close like within the same session. I'm going to close the browser, and then I'm going to open it again after accepting the cookie and see what happens. Or I'm going to decline. Like so, you do the same test over again, like to see if the cookie was stored. If you want to see the performance cookie on the site, then you have to say, okay, if I close the browser and I go and I open it back again and I navigate to the page, what happens? It should not, like based on the requirements, it should not pop up that cookie thing again because I'm still within the same browsing session. And it would tell me, and then I would still check the cookies, make sure that nothing is stored and everything like that. So that is a strategy that I would use when I'm doing automated testing and I have to deal with cookie management. It's something that you have to think about. When you are doing automated tests, you are just automating the manual test that you do, because everything that I just said here, that would be a viable manual test, right? So if let's say you guys are implementing cookie management, and I would do all those things manually. And once I see how it's working manually and I understand it, then I would go back and say, okay, now I'm going to automate it. So now when I say, okay, I open this website and it pops up and it says, okay, we're going to store cookies. I'm going to, whatever option that I choose, I'm going to say, okay, now after I choose this option, I want to get a list of the cookies and see, okay, the one that I chose, like, is it storing the cookies when it shouldn't be? Is it, that same test that I wrote out manually, I have to transfer that to an automated test. And that's the mindset that I approach when that's how I think about, when I'm doing automation, based on the features that we're implementing. What did I have to test manually? And what is the best way to automate that so I don't have to, so that now the next time I can just run this script, I can just run this test, and then I get the results and it's getting the right validation. I don't have to worry about doing the same steps every single time we're releasing or deploying. So that is my strategy that I approach when doing, that's my strategy when I'm doing automated tests for whatever type of automated test, but this one just seems to be in particular to cookie management. And it's honestly not a big deal. It's pretty simple to deal with cookies, whether I'm just clicking on the challenge becomes when it randomly pops up these error messages, how do you deal with that? And at that point, you might need to do some type of threading that's just like polling. If this ends up showing up, then you're going to click that. But if not, then we keep going. So that's basically how I would deal with it. All right. So with that being said, we are going to wrap it up. All right. Let's check the chat before we get out of here. See if there's anything that stood out. And there is not anything there. So we're good to go. We are good to go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I had a wonderful time with all of you. So let's do a roll call. Shout out to Pluto. Shout out to my guy Mitch. Shout out to I'm Technically Tim. Shout out to Good Guy. And shout out to Gregory as well. And Mitch already knows how we wind down the show. So I have a question for you. I've answered all your questions tonight. I have a question for you.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
You are here for more than entertainment. We are here to put in that work, to learn, to grow together. And because from a lot of the questions that I heard tonight, this is what I heard. I heard,
I'm in a bind, Nate.
And I don't know Nate, and I hate that we have to go to Nate whenever we're in a bind. So let's try to avoid being in a bind so we don't have to go to Nate, all right? Because
I mean, all we do is win, man. You know that.
all we do is win. And as Mitch alluded to, because yesterday's price is not today's price, and today's price is certainly not tomorrow's price. So,
one more thing. Price of the brick going up.
and on that note, we are out.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bow before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination. These are the very essence of our people. Let's believe our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the price we paid, the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. Having celebrated this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles upon us forth, and the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we set our sights on new horizons, a charted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.